So I'm Camille. I'm 33 years old and I have been diagnosed with bipolar disorder since I was about 21 years old. I started this channel because I want to reach out to not only people who are currently suffering from mental conditions, but to also reach out to their loved ones and to just the public in general. This channel is going to be mainly about awareness of me as an individual with bipolar disorder in general, and other mental conditions. Every Monday, you guys can expect me to upload a new video about a different mental condition, whether it's about myself personally, whether it's about an experience that I've had, whether it's I'm just answering questions about bipolar disorder or any other mental condition. Mondays are going to be Manic Mondays, and I will upload about different mental conditions. Another reason I started this channel is to combat the stigma that surrounds having a mental condition. Now, you're going to hear me say mental condition as opposed to mental illness. I am not mentally ill. My mentality is not sick. I just have a condition that causes my brain to work differently than others. So I always call my condition a condition and not an illness. But like I said, I want to combat some of the stigma that surrounds having bipolar disorder or schizophrenia or having any type of mental condition, this to combat the stigma around going to therapy, around taking medications. There's a lot of negativity around taking medication, around going to see a therapist, around just taking care of your mental health in general. And I wanted to create this channel to combat some of that negativity. It is okay. It is okay if you are diagnosed with a mental condition. It is okay if you feel the need to go to therapy and talk to someone about your problems. It is okay if you are suffering from anxiety or depression. And I wanted to start this channel to reach out to everyone out there and let you know you are not alone. As I said before, I am diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is defined as a disorder associated with episodes of mood swings ranging from depressive lows to manic highs. Mania may include high energy, reduced need for sleep, and a loss of touch with reality, whereas depression may include low energy, low motivation, and a loss of interest. So basically, bipolar disorder is characterized as having two things, mania and depression. If you just have mania, there's probably something else going on and you might have some kind of mood disorder. If you were just having depressive episodes, you were not bipolar. You were just experiencing depression. Bipolar disorder is a combination of very high highs and very low lows. I personally experience a lot of mania with my particular bipolar disorder. So the extremely high highs, the rapid speech patterns, the increased energy, the lack of sleep, those are all things that I experience on a regular basis as someone who deals with bipolar disorder. There's a difference between experiencing mania symptoms and having a manic episode. For me, if I'm having a manic episode, I am just too high in the clouds to come back down. I can't, you will not be able to reason with me. I will not listen to you. I will, if whatever I believe is happening in my mind, that is actually what's happening. So when I'm feeling manic, as opposed to like what I just described as a manic episode, whereas if I'm just feeling manic, I'm just very excitable. I just have a lot of energy. Like I said, I'll be up for a while and I will not, you don't need a lot of sleep. But that's just me in particular. I know other people who suffer from bipolar disorder tend to experience, like, I guess more of a balance between the depression and the mania. So, like, I have a couple of friends who they get down, and when they get in their depressive episodes, this is how I am also, too. So when I am in a depressed episode, I don't really want to talk to anybody. I don't answer my phone. I don't text. I don't reach out. I just tend to really go inside myself. I don't really go outside. I just do the basic bare minimums that I need to do to get by. So that's the difference between me as a having a manic episode and me as having a depressive episode. It's like when I'm manic, I'm very extroverted. I'm very social. I'm very sociable. I want to interact with a lot of people. I want to engage with as many people as I can. Whereas opposed to if I'm feeling depressed or having a depressive episode, I'll really just want to stay to myself, and I just will not be feeling it. Now, if I'm experiencing an extreme manic episode and I'm really out of myself, and not really in control of myself and my behaviors, the only true thing that can help me is medication, and that's what I want to talk about next. So, I am currently prescribed 2 different medications. I am prescribed Abilify for my mood swings, and I'm prescribed Ambien for my sleep issues. Now, your doctor will tell you need to take this medication every day. It has to get into your system. It builds up. This is true. This is generally true, especially of mood altering medications. They need to get into your system. They build up in your system. But another thing that about bipolar disorder, people with bipolar disorder, is we do not like to take our medication, and we are generally non-complicit with medication. And I say we because I am no different. I do not like having to take medication, and I do not often take my medication as prescribed, for the simple fact that I just don't want to take it. There's something about being bipolar and medication, it just does not go together. It's like oil and water. It's just, we don't want to do it. But like I said, sometimes if I am experiencing an extreme mania or an extreme manic episode, I now am at the point where I can realize I'm out of control, and I do go to the doctor and I do get my medication. So currently, like I said, I'm prescribed Abilify and Ambien, and those 2 medications, to me, they're actually pretty good. Ambien, it helps me go to sleep, and it doesn't keep me asleep for too long. It doesn't have too many drowsy effects. And Abilify, it's just a good mood enhancer, mood alter, whatever you want to call it. It's a good mood stabilizer. So it doesn't make me have too many strange mood swings. And what the most important thing for me about the medications that I'm currently prescribed is that there are no very bad side effects. That is one reason that I don't really enjoy taking medication, is because they have side effects. I've been taking medication for my mental conditions for a very long time, and I've experienced a lot of extreme side effects. I've experienced physical side effects, whereas I've broken out into strange rashes. I've had mental side effects, whereas I've had hallucinations, audio and visual hallucinations. So that's really why I'm not a big advocate for medication, and I focus more on self-care and maintaining my mental health in that way. When it comes to having a mental condition, self-care is very important. You have to maintain and protect your mental health at all costs. And I personally do a couple different things to ensure that, I'm taking care of myself. I'm doing things for myself to make myself happy, to make myself healthy in general. So one thing that I do for self-care is I do aromatherapy. I use oils in a diffuser. I use oils all the time. I use oils like this on my skin. I'm going to show you guys. So what you do with body oils like this, I'm going to roll up my sleeves, and it has a little eyedropper like this. And I put it on my pressure points. So I put it on my wrists, just there. I put some on my fingertips. I rub it on my temple. And then I have enough on my fingers, so I put some right here, just to open up my third eye. So, and for me, aromatherapy just works wonders. Like, something about the smells stimulates the chemicals in my brains, and it gets my endorphins going, and it makes me like extremely happy and in a good mood and a positive mood. So I do a lot of different things with aromatherapies. I use a couple different oils. These are my favorite ones for my skin. This is the rose hip, rose, water, and ivory. This one that I showed before is the lemongrass, and this one here sorry for the hair, is green tea and mint. So sometimes I put them on together, sometimes I put them on separately, I combine them, I put them in my bath water, sometimes I put them in the shower, and the steam combination gets going and it opens up your sinuses. So I really love aromatherapy. Another thing I like to do is I journal. So I have not this one right here, but two. There's a little drawing that I did. Physical journals. I write in my journals not every day, but as often as I can. You should try to write a journal entry like at least once a week or at least once a month, to just so you can look back at your progress. That is the one thing I do have a fault. Take two. So that's the one flaw I do have with journaling. I tend to write a lot, but I don't go back and read the things that I wrote about. I wish I would have gone back and read my journal entries a lot sooner than I did, because I've been writing and talking about starting this YouTube channel since 2018, and I'm just now doing it. And a lot of things I just wrote about previously, I ended up rewriting about because I didn't read it soon enough. If I would have reread my journal entries sooner, I could have avoided doing the same thing over and over again. So, but journaling is a very good way to, take care of your mental health, journaling is a good way to check in with yourself. So another thing I do for self-care is I go to therapy. Therapy has a lot of negativity surrounding it, which is like, some people think they don't feel comfortable talking to a stranger. They don't want to tell a stranger their problems. They don't want to tell a stranger their business, which I can completely understand that. For me, I feel the opposite way. It's easier for me to tell a stranger my business or my problems because, one, they don't know me and I don't know them, so there's no loss there. Two, technically, your therapist cannot tell your business. It is technically illegal for your therapist to tell your business. They are bound by the HIPAA law. They cannot tell anyone anything that you say, or they could get in a lot of trouble. And, three, it's just an outside perspective. It's not someone that you know. It's not a friend. It's not a family member. It's not someone that knows you who can weigh in with maybe a biased opinion. A therapist is a totally complete outside source. So I really enjoy going to therapy. I go to therapy. I try to go at least once a week. Sometimes, I slack on it and I miss a couple appointments, but I always pick it back up because it is important to check in with your mental health care provider if you have a mental condition. Even if you don't like taking medication, which I don't, you have to check in with your doctors so they can keep tabs on you and your condition. You can't do it by yourself. I have accepted the fact that, yes, I do have a condition. Before, I was very even skeptical to even accept the fact that bipolar disorder was even a real thing. I was like, oh, it's all in your mind. It's all a mentality. But I'm like, no. If you read about it, if you read about the different types of conditions and you read the symptoms, the side effects, the just everything that goes along with having a mental condition, and it describes you to a T, you have to at that point accept, okay, yes, this is true about myself. I do have this. So at this point, I understand I have bipolar disorder. I am not complicit with taking medication, but I am still going to check in with my doctors and check in with my therapist and take it when I feel like I need it. So you have to take care of yourself. You have to do self-care. Self-care is the most important thing, and therapy is a very important part of self-care. People think also, another bad thing people think about therapy is if you need it, you're crazy. You're not crazy if you need someone to talk to. People need someone all the time. Not everyone has friends. Not everyone has family. Not everyone has someone to listen to their problems. And a therapist can be there for you sometimes when no one else is. Like, they will listen to you. They will give you advice. They can offer understanding. At least a good therapist should. Not every therapist out there is good, but a lot of the good ones, they will be there for you just to help you and support you as an outside perspective. They can give you advice on anything, like not just you mental like mental health issues, because I talk to my therapist about everything. Like, you can talk to your therapist about relationship issues, you can talk to your therapist about personal issues. A therapist is really just there to support you. And I feel really bad that therapy has such a bad it gets a bad rap. It really does. And people don't want to even give it a try. But I love going to therapy. And my only issue with about going to therapy is I don't feel that I need to go if I don't really have anything new going on. If I feel like my issues are under control and I have nothing, pressing that I really need to talk about, then, maybe I'll slack off for like a couple weeks. But I always pick it back up just to check in and say, hey, I'm not, experiencing a depressive episode. I'm not experiencing a manic episode. I'm still here. I'm just, checking in. And this is what's happening. And that brings me to accepting your diagnosis. And that's basically where I'm at today. I have accepted myself as an individual with bipolar disorder. I have accepted myself, and I've accepted my mental condition in its entirety. And so what it means to accept your diagnosis is you can take the next step. Like, for me, once I found out I was bipolar and not depressed, that made a world of difference. First of all, the medication for depression and the medication for mood disorders are completely different. They are. So once I was properly diagnosed, I was properly medicated. And it made me a lot less resistant to medication. And once you receive your diagnosis and accept your diagnosis, you can move forward with your mental condition. You don't have to feel stuck. You don't have to feel sad anymore. You don't have to feel like, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I like everyone else? You can, it is okay. It's okay that you're not like everyone else. And you can accept yourself for who you are. It is fine to be different. There's nothing wrong with being different. And sometimes being different is better because you're not afraid to be yourself. When you're bipolar, especially when you're experiencing mania, you do a lot of very out there behaviors. And at a certain point, you stop caring what other people think. And that's where I am right now as a person. I've accepted myself as an individual with bipolar disorder, and I've accepted my mental condition, and I am fine with it at this point. But this is for people who are dealing with people with a mental condition. Be a support system. If your loved one has a mental condition, be there for them. And I'm saying that as to say, do not indulge them if they are having a delusion, but be there for them be there for them, period. So call them, text them, check in with them every now and then. Make sure they're doing fine. If you reach out to them and you don't hear from them, keep reaching out to them. Don't give up on them. If you know someone who has a mental condition, don't judge them. Do not put your standards onto them because they just can't operate the same way that you do. You have to just be there for them as a friend, as a parent, as a spouse, whatever it is, whatever your role is in their life, be supportive to them. And one way you can be supportive to them is also by gaining knowledge about their condition. So, like I said, I have bipolar disorder. If you know someone with bipolar disorder, look up, just look up different things about it. There are different types like bipolar 1, bipolar 2, and I think there's like 3 and 4 and all that. But those different numbers basically mainly just have to do with like the different degrees of mania. But just look up just basic information about bipolar disorder. Or if you're dealing with someone with schizophrenia, look up look up different things about schizophrenia. Like I know delusions is one big thing with schizophrenia that is not typical of bipolar disorder. Like I do not have delusions, but people with schizophrenia do have delusions. So you have to approach those people a lot more carefully. And if they need hospitalization, make sure, if you want to have somebody committed, if you want to have somebody 302, make sure that they are in a nice facility. The facility that a person ends up in when they're hospitalized will make all the difference. I mean, I personally have been hospitalized on more than one occasion in good facilities and in bad facilities, and the bad facilities are really bad. But like in general, they're okay because you have to eat, sleep, take meds on a schedule, go to groups and all things like that. It's not that bad. Some places let you outside, so it's not completely horrible in general, but you do not have your freedom. And sometimes when you're in a place for like 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time and you really can't go outside and you can't talk to anyone and you can't leave, it does start to wear on you. So make sure if you want to have somebody put away, you check out that hospital before you have them sent there. You go there yourself, visit it, walk around on the grounds. If it looks like it's not right, don't send them there. Because there are plenty of good facilities out there that are providing very good mental health services for people with mental conditions. And that brings me to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed